there, and welcome back to another Tay Township Public Library craft. Today we're going to be making jack-o'-lantern jars. So this is really quite magical and really fun to do. So I'm going to tell you everything that you get in the kit and then everything that you'll need. So in your kit you're going to get 2 pieces of orange tissue paper, your jar and your lid, some things to decorate the top of the jar, leaves, flowers, twine, pipe cleaner, also your jack-o'-lantern face that we're going to glue on there, and some LED lights that you'll need 2 AA batteries for. So what you need is 2 AA batteries for the lights. You're going to need a paintbrush, some scissors, white glue, you can see here, and hot glue and a hot glue gun to decorate your lid. And then if you want, you can go outside like I've done and pick up some things to add to your lid. I'm going to use this piece of stick that I found on the Tay Trail on the ground and glue that onto the lid for stem. And then I also found a pine cone to decorate with. So I'm going to put that over with my decorations over to this side here. And then we'll get started. So the first thing you want to do is we're going to be gluing the orange paper on the outside of the jar. So you're going to take 1 sheet of your orange paper. You might need the second one if it tears, but right now we're just going to start with the one. And you're going to measure the height of your jar with the tissue paper, and then we're going to cut it about 1-inch strips or 2 centimeter wide strips. So you're going to need probably 10 to 12 strips to do that. So what we're going to do first is just, you can use a ruler or you can just measure about how long you're going to need. And remember, we don't need to cover the top of the jar because you're going to put the lid back on. So you don't want to glue it onto where the lid screws on. So we're going to measure and make a little cut with the height of your jar. So my jar is about that tall. And then we can cut out that strip. So there we got the strip, and then this is what we're going to cut into about 1-inch strips. Now I did not cut that all the way straight. Pretty good. We'll go from this end, it's a little bit longer. See, I wasn't all that way straight, but that's okay. All the way straight. So then you can go and cut these into 1-inch strips. There we go. One. Two. All right, I think we should be good with that. We'll put that off to the side. Make sure my instructions are available so I can read it. All right, so let's put all those strips there. So the next thing in our instructions says we need to add a 1-inch strip of glue where we're going to stick these. So we're going to work in 1 strip at a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my glue, and I'm just going to put it right, I covered my surface with a piece of craft paper. You could use a piece of newspaper. You could use a yogurt lid or a paint palette for this. But I'm just going to go ahead and put a little dab of glue right on my craft paper to work from. Makes it a little easier to clean up. So take your paintbrush and paint from, remember, below where the jar screws on, and paint a strip of glue there. And then take your, actually I'm going to use where the fold is, because mine got a bit of a fold, and glue it, and just put that on top. can always go around. If it's a little bit too long like mine, we can go around and trim it after. So we can go and do another strip beside it. And we're gonna wanna overlap them just a teeny tiny bit. That's what'll give it a look of the lines of where the pumpkin grows, because you know it's all bumpy on the outside, so we want it to have a little bit of lines. So we're just gonna overlap them a tiny bit like this. You see? And you can always take a little bit of glue and just run it gently over that seam. Just like that. And I need a bit more glue. So I'll do one more strip with you guys, and then I'll finish gluing all the strips on and we'll come back. So we'll do another strip. And you don't want to do it too thick, because then when you're placing your tissue paper on, it can rip really easily. So glue that on there. Put a little bit of glue on the seam. And you could glue the ends right over the bottom too. Just make sure when you put it down, you don't glue it to the table. All right, so I've got 3 strips on there. I'm gonna keep gluing. You guys keep gluing, pause the video, and then when you're done gluing all your strips, unpause it, and we'll go to the next step. All right, so I'm just putting the last strip of paper on my jar. So there's the glue. Whoops, there we go. Press that down. And then we're just gonna take some glue and gently go over any loose edges. Now, if you go away from the edge over top, you see, and this one overlaps this way, you see, and then you just push it down a little bit with a little bit of glue on your brush. And then you're gonna wanna make sure you wash your brush really, really well when you're all done gluing, and give this a couple of minutes to dry. So we'll just go over. I've got a couple areas over here that are sticking up. That way it doesn't catch on anything and come off. And mine kind of over, you can see it went around the bottom a little bit because my jar has a little bit of a lip, so the strips perfectly went that way. All right, so let that dry for a few minutes and wash out your brush, and then come back. Oh, actually, no, sorry. We don't want to wash out our brush. My mistake, we need to glue. Whoops, that's upside down now. We need to glue our pumpkin face on. So, what we want to do, if your hand, like mine, can fit inside your jar, we're going to glue the face inside. Now, if you're having trouble, you can use tweezers or a popsicle stick. I think I should be able to get it inside. So what you're going to do is put a thin layer of the glue on the one side of the, now I'm going to do the mouth first actually, of the black construction paper that's pre-cut into a little jack-o'-lantern face. So very gently, make sure you cover the entire one side, and we're going to put it on the inside. Now, if your hand doesn't fit inside your jar, you can put it on the outside. It'll just be visible. But the fun thing about it being on the inside is that you can't really see it until you turn on the lights, which makes it really magical. So, but that's okay. If you want it to be on the outside and that's a little easier for you, go right ahead. All right, so this is the tricky part. This is the fun part. All right, get that inside and my hand. And then right about there. Can you guys see it? You can kind of, oh, there, you can kind of see it. There we go. And then just make sure you gently make sure it's all stuck. All right, and now let's do the nose. And I'm gonna do it point down because I always think it looks better when the nose of a jack-o'-lantern, the triangle is upside down. Now this one's a little easier because it's smaller. And just put that in the center of the smile. There we go. Can you see my nose? Yep. There we go. And now we're gonna do the eyes. Oh, so it might be a good idea to let this dry a little bit before you do the face, because I nicked up my tissue paper. But if you do, when it's all dry, you think that you want a little bit more tissue paper on there, then you can go and do another coat or just touch it up. If you do another coat, the glue might tear the tissue paper, so just try and keep it to touch-ups. But, all right. Let's do the eyes, and I like the triangles of my eyes to be right side up. I'm gonna do it with the other hand. There we go. Awesome. All right. And the other one, I got enough glue here. Perfect. Another coat on the one side. And I got glue on that side. And then we're going to stick it on the inside of the jar beside the other eye. Oh, my tissue paper's coming up there. Awesome. Okay. Now we're gonna pause it, go rinse our brushes, and let it dry for a few minutes, and then we're gonna come back and decorate. All right, so we washed out our brush. We're gonna come back and decorate. So I'm gonna take my string and tie it around the top first, and then leave the strings on hanging off the one side. So I'll just tie it in a little knot. All right, and then you can use a little bit of hot glue just to make sure that it doesn't come off. Just below, make sure you're not doing it where the lid screws on, okay? And a little dab there. And I'm gonna bring this one over so it's over there. Kind of made a little loop there. Okay, now let's set that aside. And we've got our lid. So I've got, first I think I'm gonna stick, actually, we should put the lid on because when you twist it on, you don't know where it's gonna end up. And you want it to look good when you're, so my jar's still a little bit wet, so I'm gonna first, where's my happy guy? There it is. Stick my two leaves like this on top. So they're still connected by the stem if yours are separate. And this is where you can get creative and you can do anything you want. You can use things you find outside. You can use different craft materials you have at home. But this is what came with the kit besides the stick and the pine cones. So I'm gonna go and put a dab of glue towards the back to stick these. If you twirl it around, you don't get all those little strings everywhere. Stick this there and then just wait a couple seconds to make sure it sticks. And then I'm gonna stick my stem. I think I want it to be on a bit of an angle like this. What do you guys think? Okay. So we're gonna put a big gob in the middle. Twirl it around. Oh, strings. And wait a couple seconds for that to stick. Kind of broke on an angle because it was a bigger stick. And it made this perfect spot for it to glue down so it sticks out one side. There we go. Now I've got a pumpkin with a stem. Now the next part I want to do is, if you guys did the Slinky Pumpkin craft, this is the same thing. We want to make a curlicue vine because pumpkins grow on vines on the ground. So you're going to take one end around a pencil, pen, or marker, and then curl it around if you want to have a vine on your pumpkin. So curl it around like that, and then that looks like a little snake, and then you can slide it right off, and then pull it out gently, and you get this curly cue. And then you can, maybe I'll just, since this is hanging off one side, maybe I'll hang this off the other side, like sticking up like this. That looks pretty good. Or I can just put it around my stem and give it a little twist. There we go. And I've got this pine cone. Now it's missing a couple of little, see, it's kind of flat on one side, so I'm going to stick that up against my stem. So we'll put some hot glue on there. Stick it on my stem. Whoops, it wasn't stuck yet. And what do I got left? I got this leaf. Oh, I have an idea for this one. And this little tiny, I think it almost looks like a mum, you know, like a fall mum. And it should go in the front, maybe right there. So we're gonna stick some glue on there. Now you can always ask for Mom and Dad's help if you're afraid of using the glue gun, okay? Don't want anybody getting burned. But once you master the glue gun, there's so many things you can make. And I'm just gonna pull all these extra strings off. Hey, what do you think? All right, and so this one, I thought, and in our demos that we made, that Catherine and Jessica made in Wabashine, they have one of these leaves coming off the end. So I'm going to just, I think I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this leafy flower and wrap the twine around it a bit, or jute. Just be careful with this part if you're going to do this that you don't burn your fingers. So put some glue around, give it a twirl, and I'm going to use the longer one. No, the short, yeah, the longer one. Okay. And then just give it a little wrap to hide the end. Oh, see, it squished through. Be very careful if you're doing this. This is a low heat one, so I got a little glue on my fingers there. He's got a little leaf hanging off there. And then if you don't want to do that, or if you've got another one like I do, what you can do is just unravel the jute a bit. And what this does is gives it a little rustic look. You can even glue this up a little higher if you wanted. But you don't want to cover his face either. All right. Now that we've got our top all decorated, get all the things out of the way. You might need Mom and Dad's help with this again. You need to get 2 AA batteries for your lights. So once you've got your lights out of the package, you do need Mom and Dad's help, or if you're good with the screwdriver, because there's a little tiny bit screw right there that you've got to take out, and the lid pops off and you put your 2 batteries inside. And then we're going to carefully unravel it. This little LED string. Oh, it's a little bit tangled. That's okay. Just be careful not to break the string, okay? Here we go. And then you can turn it on. And put that in the bottom. And then put the lights inside. Oh, you guys, look at how much it shows up now. The pumpkin face, the jack-o'-lantern face. That's so neat. All right, get those all in there. Get in there. Keeps popping back out. Okay, now put your lid on. All right. And then you go and turn out the lights. That's neat. So we've got a stem and our decorations. All right. I hope everyone has a safe and happy Halloween. Bye. Oh, and remember to share your pictures to library@tay.ca. We'd love to see how your crafts turn out. Bye.